Oh, hey, good morning, friends. Mark Holmes here with my buddy Cowboy Joe Boo. And as always, thank you guys for watching, commenting, and subscribing to the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, this literally does not work. Let's get open for business this morning. And thank you for joining this morning's edition of Don't Sleep on the Dallas Cowboys because you literally cannot sleep on the Dallas Cowboys because things can happen late in the evening, late at night, first thing in the morning. So you want to be up to speed with all that is America's team. Guys, oh, we waited 256 days, 254 days for a throwback game and then had to wait an extra 40 minutes. When I say throwback, I'm not talking about a classic game. I mean, that was literally, can we throw that game back? Or maybe we ought to call that a throw up game because that was, I got to tell you, this is how I felt watching that game last night.
You one ugly motherfucker.
Yeah, that game was one ugly mother effer. Congratulations, Eagles. Congratulations on beating the Atlanta Falcons, the choking dogs that they are. When I was watching the game, we live streamed last night. Thank everybody who stayed awake and was part of the live stream. It was ugly. The Falcons had the opportunity to really open the game up, and they went for it fourth down when they should have kicked a field goal. And that's where one play or one turnover in a game can literally change it. Had they kicked that field goal, they would have only been 3 points down, and they could have kicked a field goal and tied the score and gone to overtime and made us suffer even more. Now, here's the funny thing. I call this season for the Cowboys redemption. Jason Garrett's motto this year is respect. You need to earn respect, and I get that. That's true because nobody respects the Cowboys. Everybody talks about how bad they are. Everybody told you how good the Eagles and the Falcons are going to be, two of the best teams, possibly NFC Championship preview. Now, that's not to say that both teams won't be better. Now we don't play preseason games anymore. I don't know why they really even have them because your starters don't play. Really, the first couple of games are your preseason. It's the first time that your teams are finally really on the field together at the same time. And as you saw, a sloppy game with over 30 penalties. You saw guys that just kept cramping up over and over. That was a preseason game. In fact, I think that was worse than some of the preseason games. But for me, this is validation. A couple of things I said in the offseason where people said, you're an idiot, you're stupid. And that's true. I am an idiot and I am stupid. But I'm also right sometimes. One, I said, Carson Wentz isn't going to be ready to start the season. I said, Carson Wentz, it wasn't just an ACL, which is what Adrian Peterson came back like nobody else ever had. And everybody now thinks that that's the standard, that you have an ACL, you'll be back in 8 months. But remember, it was week 14. And it wasn't just the ACL, it was also the LCL. 2 of the 4 ligaments that hold your knees together. That's usually a year-long injury to recover if you're lucky. So they say maybe October, early October, maybe 3-4 games, who knows? But I told you guys that he wasn't going to be ready, and I told you he was going to have to wear a brace. You're an idiot. You don't know what you're talking about. You don't know anything about the Eagles. Okay, you're right. I am an idiot with a day job and a voodoo doll. I also said that Nick Foles is a streaky quarterback. He got on a hot streak going into the playoffs. His best play last night was actually catching the football. But he did not look anything near Super Bowl MVP. Now, that's not saying that he won't get back on the hot streak. But thus far, be happy, Eagles, that you came out with that victory because, I'll be honest, neither of you teams deserve to win. Now, darn, I don't have my phone. Um, Falcons Nation brethren was MIA last night during the game. He did, after the game, come through because I sent him an email. I said, Matt Ice sucks. He sucks. He's garbage. And he at least manned up and said, you're right. I don't know what happened. He sucked. And I can respect that because, listen, I got no problem with people trolling me. But if your team does bad, show up the same way you do when your team wins. Don't be a cockroach like those New York Giant fans that, all off season last year, they talked trash. Once they started losing, they packed it in for the season. I can respect a guy that talks trash and supports his team when they're down because that's when your team needs you the most. And I can respect brethren. So, here, this cup of coffee is for you. And it's for me because I need it because I just can't stay awake and I got to go drive about about 300 miles today. But I can respect somebody that backs their team even when the chips are down. But I said, and I compared the statistics of Dak versus Matty Ice. How dare you do that? Matt Ryan was a NFL MVP. Dak sucks. I said, look at the numbers. Look at the touchdowns and things. Dak had 22. Matty Ice had 20. Yes, they went to the playoffs. Their defense played better. They had Julio Jones. But if you're if you're NFL MVP, a guy who just came back from playing in the Super Bowl, don't you think you should have more than 20 touchdowns? Now, they just paid him $150 million. You might want to see about getting a refund. Because I'm looking at those passes. He was off. He threw a couple of ducks. He threw behind receivers. He threw high. They talk about Dak Prescott's accuracy. Right now, I think I would have taken Cooper Rush over Matty Ice last night. Now, that's not to say that the Cowboys won't stink it up on Sunday. But as a Cowboy fan, if that's the best two teams right now in the NFC, you got your chance. You got your opportunity. Now, the Eagles' defense, they're tough. Falcons' defense, they're tough. But those offenses left a lot to be desired. Our Cowboys are on the field practice today, Friday practice, before they get ready to head to Carolina for our opening game. Hopefully, it won't be as ugly as that because, God, it made me sick. Literally, I woke up this morning, my head, sinuses just clogged up. I just felt like I wanted to puke. And then I realized I still had that bad taste in my mouth of that game. So, guys, we'll be live streaming tonight, 9 o'clock. We'll dissect this game a little more. We'll preview our game coming up. And I'm interested to see what all the talking heads have to say about these two great teams from the NFC. And like I always tell you guys, understand, just because you did good last year doesn't mean you're going to be good this year. Half of the teams on average don't make the playoffs the following year. Last year, the only team that made the playoffs from the year before was the Atlanta Falcons. So the question is, what are going to be the teams that nobody is thinking about right now that are going to rise to the top? We'll be having more of that later. I'm Mark Holmes with my buddy Cowboy Joe Boo, and thank you for being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report.